So it has been a while since we featured any Topo Athletic shoes on the channel, and in fact it was way back when I tested out a trail shoe, the MTN Racer 2, and that was around 3 years ago, and I have never tried any of their road shoes before. So very excited to be taking their deeply cushioned Atmos out for its first run today. One thing I can definitely say is it looks like their shoes have come a long way over the last couple of years. So let's give you guys a few facts and figures, and then we're going to be hitting the roads and testing them out. Welcome back everyone, hope you're having a great week so far. Thanks for tuning in again. I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run4Adventure. So we're going to dive straight into today's video, and I've got to start off by saying a big shout out to Topo Athletic for sending us out a pair of shoes for today's video. It really is a big help at the channel and really is appreciated, so thanks very much guys. But the Atmos retails in the UK for £150, and this is the brand's first attempt at a sort of max cushion neutral daily trainer. So weight wise, my pair tips the scales at 295 grams, and obviously with this being a deeply cushioned neutral shoe, it comes with a good helping of the soft stuff. So we've got a stack height of 38mm at the heel and 33mm under the forefoot, and that gives the Atmos a 5mm heel offset. Starting at the top, we've got this recycled engineered mesh construction that's got lots of perforations all over it, and that's to give us that nice soft comfortable fit with increased airflow to help with breathability. We've got a pretty standard looking tongue design, so no gusseted tongue in the Atmos, and I would say it's got a sort of moderate level of padding. They've also worked in some extra sort of internal structuring, wrapping around that midfoot on the medial and the lateral side. And you can see that Topo Athletic are another brand that produce their shoes with that sort of anatomical foot shape design. So you can see we've got good width in the toe box, should give me plenty of wiggle room on today's run, and not too dissimilar to say an Ultra shoe or some of the current Innovate shoe lineup. We got some good support in the back end of the upper from a substantial heel cradle, and I'd say very similar to the tongue, we get a moderate level of padding around the ankle collar and in the heel. We got this unusual textured sort of padded fabric on the outside of the ankle. If I'm honest, I have no idea what that's for. Maybe it's just some kind of sort of design feature. And then finishing up, we've got some overlays around the eyelets for a bit of extra durability and a pretty standard looking lace system. Moving down to the midsole, and this is where the shoe starts to get a bit more interesting because we've got this multi-density construction going on that utilizes Topo Athletic's high energy returning zip foam. So we basically got two layers, with the top layer being softer to give you that nice plush feel close to your foot for step-in comfort, and then the layer underneath slightly firmer for that more sort of stable, responsive ride. And then they've paired this up with a pair of performance ortholite insoles that are constructed out of high rebound foam. And then if I turn the shoe over, you can see that you get a pretty wide platform on the Atmos, and we've got a nice efficient rocker geometry worked in there as well. And then you can see we've got some strategically placed blown rubber on all those high wear areas for a bit of added grip and durability. But let's just give that shoe a bit of a flex test. So as you can imagine, with it being a deep midsole cushioning and that wide platform at the midfoot, not the most flexible of midsoles in the world. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that feels and performs on today's run. So there you have it, a quick breakdown of Topo Athletic's deeply cushioned neutral trainer, the Atmos. Lots of features there that really interest me, and it's just going to be great to be back out there running in a shoe from the brand after 3 years of not doing it. And I'm really interested to see how their shoes and materials have developed over that time. So without further ado, I'm off to get my running kit on. We're going to get these on my feet, and then we are going running. Okay, we are, what, 2.5 miles into the run. I would say 2 miles of that is uphill, so I'm a little bit out of breath, but I'm also really pleasantly surprised. Every now and again, I'll get a shoe in for testing. I'll think I know how it's going to feel when I go out on that first run. And some shoes really surprise me, and I think the Atmos is one of them. First thing we got to talk about is fit and feel of the upper. So I would say it's true to size. This UK 9.5 is giving me good length in the toe. Obviously with that anatomical sort of foot shape design, loads of wiggle room in the toe box, but I feel very securely locked down at the midfoot, and I've got a really nice hold in the heel. Obviously we're only 2.5 miles into the run, so I'm not going to get carried away and overly excited, but first impressions are very good. The other good news is obviously we had 2 miles uphill, so now we've got 2 miles downhill. So we're going to up the pace a bit, up the tempo a bit, and see how this shoe performs at a faster pace. But like I said, feels really good straight out of the box, but let's get down this hill. So we are 7.7 miles down already, and they have flown by, and I was only planning on doing sort of 10k 7 miles today, but I think we're going to be more around 9 miles, and legs are feeling good, nice and loose, and that hasn't been the case lately. I've done a couple of road runs, felt a bit sluggish, a bit tight, but the other reason is that the Topo Atmos continues to impress. Not only does the upper fit well and feel plush, but that zip foam midsole is performing really well. To put it into context a bit, I've done a few runs in the Saucony Endorphin Speed 4 recently for an up and coming video on the channel, and you know, that is a plated performance training shoe. I've got to say it, this zip foam midsole is feeling a lot better, more comfortable, more energy return underfoot, and when I upped the pace running downhill at the beginning of the run there, they just felt a lot more exciting to run in, and that's impressive coming from just a deeply cushioned training shoe. You can probably tell from all the superlatives that I'm throwing out that I'm really enjoying my first run in this Topo Athletic shoe, but we've got about 1.5 miles to go before we get... Do you mind, Seagull? I'm trying to film a video. Thank you very much. Yeah, so we got about 1.5 miles to go before we get home, and then we'll wrap this video up with a quick conclusion. So we were just shy of 9 miles by the time I got back home, and what an enjoyable first run it was. Although I've got to say, I was a little bit worried about the Atmos from Topo before I got running, because it does look very similar to the Ultra Via Olympus I tested out about a year ago. That shoe really didn't work for me, and I think it's kind of left me scarred, if I'm honest. So overly stiff at the midfoot. It was so rigid, the cushioning was firm as well, and it caused me a lot of foot pain on that first run, to the point where I never laced them up again. I never took them out for a second run, and I really do think, for me, one of the worst road running shoes that I've ever tested on the channel. However, I shouldn't have worried, because this was the complete opposite out there today. I really enjoyed the run, and it's a perfect example of you should never judge a book by its cover. Like I mentioned, out on the run, the upper fit and feel was great straight out of the box. You know, having that anatomical foot shape design gave me lots of wiggle room up front, but the rest of the upper felt super secure wrapped around my feet. All the materials nice and soft and plush internally, so no rubbing, no irritation or anything like that. And another thing is whenever I've tested out an Ultra shoe, it's always been nice having that extra sort of volume and width in the toe box, but I've never really got on with a zero drop. It just doesn't really work for me. Again, highlights how personal running is, because there's lots of runners out there that love a zero drop, but I thought it was really nice to have that roomy toe box, all that wiggle room, but have a heel offset. Even better that the Atmos is a 5mm drop, because that is the perfect heel height for me. It was a bit wet and greasy out there on today's run, and there was lots of wet, slippery leaves all over the pavements, and this rubber outsole seemed to do a good job, so offered good levels of grip, and I felt nice and confident underfoot. But the biggest surprise was how well this midsole performed. So before I went out, I had my reservations because the Atmos is quite stiff at the midfoot, but you know, it really didn't cause me any issues. And I think a lot of that comes down to this nice rocker geometry worked into that midsole design. It made the shoes feel very efficient, and they seem to transition through to toe off nice and smoothly. So even though it is quite stiff at the midfoot, I really didn't notice it. And then we have the midsole construction itself. First up, this zip foam feels very comfortable underfoot, and I think that's been achieved by this dual compound layered setup. So we've got the softer, plusher foam very close to the foot, and that's been paired up with those performance Ortholite insoles, and they really do feel nice and comfy when you first step into the shoe. But performance-wise, felt like I was getting lots of rebound. Also, felt like this zip foam was giving me lots of assistance along the way. And, you know, for a deeply cushioned training shoe, they just performed way better than I thought they would. They felt, you know, snappy when I upped the pace. They felt responsive and exciting to run in at those quicker tempos. And I really wasn't expecting that on today's run. Having not run in Topo Athletic shoes for around about 3 years now, it really does seem like they've come a long way in that time, especially when we take a closer look at sort of midsole foam development. Shoes of old, you know, they felt okay to run in, they weren't that exciting, and I did find that some of the midsole foams they were using back then did feel a little bit flat, and they didn't offer me a lot of energy return. So today's run has definitely got me all excited about the Topo brand again, and we really do need to try and get hold of some of their latest trail shoes to test and review on the channel. As far as looks go, I think it's a pretty good looking shoe in this white, lime and pale blue colorway, and maybe that has been an issue in the past for the brand because, you know, some of their older models did look a little bit dad shoe, if I'm honest. If you don't like white running shoes, it comes in other color options as well, although I've got to be fair, some of them do look a little bit dad shoe again. So I think the aesthetics of their shoes is definitely improving, but maybe there's still some way to go on that front. Obviously, these are just my initial thoughts after today's first run, and it's going to be really interesting to see how the Atmos holds up to the miles as I put more miles into them. So it'd be great to hear from you guys. You know, if you've racked up some good miles in a pair of these, then let us know how they're feeling, how they're performing. More importantly, let us know how durable the shoe is. Is it holding up well to the miles you're putting into it? So get in the comments below and let us know all about it. And on that note, it brings today's first impressions video to an end. Really hope you enjoyed it, really hope you found it helpful. If you feel we've missed anything out, or you've got any extra questions about the Topo Athletic Atmos deeply cushioned road running shoe, then please feel free to get them in the comments below. But if you have found it helpful, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to the channel. It really is very helpful. And you can also follow us on our other social media platforms, whether it be Instagram, Facebook or Strava. But for now, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support. It really is appreciated. We'll be back on the channel very soon. And as always, stay safe and keep on running. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you're having a great week so far. Thanks for tuning in again. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you are having a good week so far. Thanks for tuning in again. I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run4Adventure. So let's dive straight in today's... We've got this sort of unusual padded textured fabric on the outside of the ankle, and if I'm honest, I don't really know what that's for. Maybe it's just a